Assalamu alaikum ya shabab, and welcome to our second video in our series of videos on Awzan al-Fa'il. Now, if you remember in our first video, we learned about the basic differences between transitivity, intransitivity, and reflexivity, right? And we also compared the relationship between Form 2 verbs, which is fa'ila, yufa'il, and is transitive, and Form 5 verbs, which is tafa'ala, yatafa'il, and is usually reflexive, right? And we also illustrated this relationship by looking at the word, looking at the root dhakara and putting it into Form 2, yudhakir, and then Form 5, yatadhakkar, right? In this video, we're just going to go over two more examples before moving on to other patterns in future videos. So, let's look at the root alama. This root generally concerns like knowledge or knowing things. So if we want to put it into Form 2 and sort of use it in a transitive way, it would look like this. Remember, Form 2 is fa'ala, yufa'il. And if we put alama into this pattern, it's allama and yu'alim. And this means to make someone know. You're doing it to someone. In other words, to teach them, and it's transitive, right? Now, if we put the same root, alama, into Form 5, which remember is tafa'ala, yatafa'al, we get ta'allama and yata'allam. And this means to make oneself obtain knowledge, or to learn, and it's reflexive. You're not doing it to anyone else. It's only the subject doing something to his or herself, right? So it's reflexive. Now pause this if you have to, just study it. But we're going to look over next, we're going to look at one more root. Next we have the root arafa, and it just means generally to be like acquainted with things, acquaintance, right? And so if we want to put it into Form 2, which is fa'ala, yufa'il, what do we get? We get arifa or yu'arif. And this, see if you can guess, it means to make someone know someone, or in other words, to introduce someone, right? You're making someone else become acquainted with someone else. And because of that, it's transitive, right? It takes a direct object. Now, if we want to put this root into the fifth pattern instead, which is tafa'ala and yatafa'al, what do we get? We get ta'arifa and yata'arif. And this verb just happens to be one of those verbs that takes a particle. So you're always going to put ala after ta'arifa or yata'arif. So it always has ala after it. And this means to have oneself become acquainted with, or basically get to know someone or to meet someone. But it's just it's transitive because you're not making someone else meet someone else. You or the subject is getting to know someone. For our last example, we're going to look at the root qatta'a. And this root generally just concerns, I guess I didn't write it up there, but it generally concerns just like cutting things or like chopping things, dividing things, etc. And if we put it into Form 2, we get qatta'a and yuqatta, and this means, remember Form 2 is transitive, this means to cut something up. So you cut something. Yuqatta, right? Qatta'a. So we'll take a direct object, right? It's transitive. The something that is being cut up is the direct object, right? And then if we put it in Form 5, we get taqatta'a or yataqatta. And this is transitive, and it means, it's reflexive, and it means to be cut up. So I was cut up, he was cut up. There's no direct object here. And this concludes basically our videos examining the relationship between pattern 2 and pattern 5. But in future videos, we're definitely going to delve into like the other 8 main patterns. So definitely stick around. Masalama.